A man spent 34 years in prison wearing a mask. His jailers had orders to kill him if he ever removed it. July 1669. Bastille Fortress, Paris. A prisoner arrives in a carriage with blackened windows. The guards receive one instruction: if this man speaks his name aloud, shoot him dead. I've read accounts from officers who were there. They describe the weight of that order, the absurdity of it. A nameless inmate in a cell. No trial, no crime listed, just a mask. This isn't legend. This is documented. The man in the iron mask, or more accurately, the man in the black velvet mask, became one of Europe's most meticulously buried secrets. And for 3 centuries, the French crown worked to keep his identity buried with him. Let me back up. France in 1640. King Louis XIV isn't even born yet. His father, Louis XIII, is dying. The court is fractured. Nobles are plotting. And somewhere in this chaos, a child is born, a boy who shares royal blood but carries a threat so severe that his existence must be erased. The theories have multiplied over centuries. Some say he was Louis XIV's illegitimate brother, a bastard who could challenge the throne. Others claim he was the true king, and Louis was the impostor. A few historians even suggested he was the son of Queen Anne and a cardinal, each theory darker than the last. The most credible evidence points here: Philippe, Duke of Anjou, Louis XIV's younger brother, but not the one history remembers. Before the official Philippe was born in 1640, there may have been another child, one removed, hidden, erased from all records. The mask itself, historians found no iron one, by the way. That's Hollywood. It was black velvet, soft, but absolute. The prisoner wore it during meals, during exercise, even during confession. The mask wasn't punishment, it was erasure, a man made invisible while still breathing. Bertrand de Guérigne, the governor of the Bastille, kept the prisoner for 19 years. Then came Bertrand de Guérigne. Both men took their orders directly from the crown. Both stayed silent. When I examined the logistics, the expense, the guards, the secrecy protocols, what struck me was the paranoia. They weren't just hiding a man. They were terrified of him. In 1679, the prisoner was moved, Sainte Marguerite Island. Then, in 1698, to the Bastille again, moved like a ghost between fortresses. Each transfer, the same protocol. Windows sealed, guards rotated, no names recorded. The crown was terrified someone would recognize him. Then November 1703, the prisoner dies, age somewhere around 64. The death certificate is blank where his name should be. His body is supposedly buried at sea. No headstone, no marker. The crown had one. He was erased. But the silence didn't hold. In 1751, a French writer named Voltaire published a letter. He'd heard rumors, a masked prisoner, a royal secret, and he asked the question that would haunt the next 250 years. Who was he, and why did the crown fear him so much? The archives tell a different story than the legend. I've read the correspondence myself, ministers debating the prisoner's status, the crown obsessing over who knew. One letter mentions the safety of the kingdom depends on his silence, not his imprisonment, his silence. The most recent scholarship from historians who have actually examined the documents points to one conclusion. He was likely an illegitimate royal, possibly Eustache Dodger, a name that appears in one ledger, then vanishes. Possibly the son of Queen Anne and someone who wasn't the king. The exact paternity may never be known. What matters more than his name is what he represents, a threat so profound that France's greatest king couldn't simply execute him. He couldn't exile him. He had to unmake him, to turn him into a ghost while alive. The mask wasn't medieval. It was modern. It was the perfect crime. For 34 years, a man existed in the margins of history, known to perhaps a dozen people, spoken of in whispers, feared by a king. And the crown's machinery, the guards, the jailers, the ministers, the silence itself, it all held. Until it didn't. Until Voltaire asked the question, and the world demanded an answer. The Iron Mask case teaches us something brutal about power. The most dangerous prisoners aren't the ones in chains. They're the ones whose very existence threatens the story a kingdom tells itself. The mask was never meant to hide his face. It was meant to hide the truth about who wore the crown. Centuries later, we're still arguing about his name. We've written novels, made films, built legends. But the real scandal wasn't the mask. It was that a kingdom, the most powerful in Europe, needed it. Needed the silence. Needed to erase a man rather than face what he represented. The mask came off when he died. But the crown's secret lived on, passed down through ministers and historians, each one keeping the silence, each one protecting a king's shame. That's the real story, not the prisoner, the conspiracy. Subscribe every week. There's a new royal secret the crown tried to bury.